Hey, and welcome to the podcast. Well, the short stuff, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just start over.
Okay.
Hey, and welcome to the short stuff.
Nice work.
Thanks. You think we'll edit that first part out?
Nope.
Okay. I'm Josh. There's Chuck, the contrarian, always saying nope. And there's Jerry over there who just kind of keeps quiet because she knows it's how we like it. And like I said, this is short stuff. Let's go.
That's right. And we're talking about time zones.
Mm-hmm.
And the sort of weirdness of time zones in this modern age.
It is very weird. And they're kind of new, and it makes sense that they're kind of new because before it was really difficult to move from place to place in any sort of quick manner.
Sure.
So it didn't really matter what time it was in some town 100 miles away from you.
Right. Nobody cared.
Like there was no way of knowing really what time it was. And by the time you walked over there to ask, it was so much later than it had been when you left. The whole thing just didn't matter. But once we started to invent ways of locomoting more quickly,
Mm-hmm.
the world got a lot smaller. And I really don't like that term for some reason. I just feel like I need to confess this. The world got smaller. The world shrank. I don't know why. It really bothers me.
Okay. Well, because
Just
you're
wanna-
a flat earther.
Right? Well, you can make a flat circle smaller. And by the way, I am absolutely not a
No,
flat earther.
of course not. Everyone
What's
knows
funny
that.
is that you have to specify that in this day and age,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
So as the world got smaller, then suddenly it did kind of matter what time it was in the town 100 miles away because you might have a connecting train you had to pick up there, and you needed to make sure that that train was coordinating with the train that you were getting there on so that you could reach there by some designated time. And that didn't always happen at first.
No, I mean, it was a real problem. People were late for trains. They were missing their trains. There were circumstances where trains would be close to colliding to one another because of the schedules and the times.
Yeah.
It's a real problem.
If everyone isn't agreed on what time it is and you have an interconnected train system, that can be extraordinarily problematic.
Yeah, I mean, and this was happening in Europe. In the U.S., it was a real mess because we had local time zones, and I don't mean regional. I mean like every city in the U.S. So we had 300 time zones in the United States, and then eventually they said, all right, this is unwieldy. Let's whittle it down to 100 time zones.
Right. And the reason why there were so many is because up to this point, everybody basically set their watch or their sundial or what have you to noon.
Mm-hmm.
When the sun was directly overhead, everybody knew it was noon in your town. But that doesn't mean it's noon somewhere else. It means it's noon in your town. And so every town basically had their own time zone, right? So when they whittled it down to 100, that was a vast improvement, but it still wasn't quite where they needed it to be because there were still a lot of problems with it. And so a scientist, his last name was Fleming, he was Scottish, and his first name was Sir Sanford. Well, the Sir wasn't his first name. That was an honorific, but the Sanford was his first name.
Yes,
Not
Sir
the
Sanford.
Sanford.
Sir Sanford and son Fleming.
Right.
And he missed a train in 1876, as the legend goes, because of the timetable and this screwy time zone thing. And he said, "I'm through." He got mad, and he said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to divide the world into 24 time zones, which makes sense, spaced at 1 degree intervals all across the planet."
Sure.
And everyone said, "Groundskeeper Willie, that's brilliant."
Yeah, you just made short stuff special officially because there was a rare Chuck Scottish accent.
I know, it's the rarest.
Yeah, it is the rarest. So that's pretty smart. 24 time zones makes a lot of sense. That's how it is today, you would think. That's not the case. As a matter of fact, I believe there's 39 time zones around the world.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I saw. 39 time zones, not 24. And to make the madness even more complete, some of these time zones are offset not by a single hour, like it should be. Some people offset their time zones by 30 minutes or 45 minutes, which is just drop out of the world, basically, if you do that, So it's what they call an S-word show these days. But even that was still an improvement from that 100 or 300 something in the U.S. And in the United States, we've had 4 time zones: Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific for, I guess, since the 19th century. Actually, as a matter of fact, exactly in the 19th century, on November 18th, 1883, those were officially instituted, not by the country necessarily itself, but by the railroad companies, who all agreed finally on a uniform time where it was at any given point in the country.